Hello and welcome, guys, and welcome to this short vlog. And yes, very few days left for your examination. I hope you guys are really preparing well for the examination. I think a handful of days left for your examination, and yes, now the time is really critical to perform at your best level. Do not panic, do not undergo any stress, do not take any stress, do not take any stress of not having prepared enough, because you have prepared enough. Trust me, you have prepared enough to get to that score which is required to qualify you as a CMA. So don't panic, don't get demotivated, okay? Yes, I know it's festive season, and sometimes in festive season you tend to get distracted towards the pleasures, towards the worldly pleasures which are there surrounding you. But still, guys, now there is no opportunity for wasting even a single second, because every second counts. And whatever you're studying in these last days, this will be very fresh in your memory, and then definitely it'll if it comes in the examination, then it'll be as fresh as if you have studied it yesterday itself, and you'll be able to perform well in your examination. So these last days studies are very critical in any of the professional examinations. And you never know, the question which you have studied just 1 week before the examination date, that question might be sitting in your examination as it is, numbers included. All right, so yes, taking clue from my this advice, taking hint from this particular aspect of the professional examination, that whatever you study at the last moment are very critical. Guys, today I am here before you to discuss some very important points about the mock test papers, the 2 mock test papers which have been released by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India on cost and management audit. Both these MTPs give us certain hints, give us certain subtle clues on what are the important chapters and what are the important aspects of our syllabus, which we definitely have to cover at this last moment, and we have to revise those chapters very well. Disclaimer: this is in no way any kind of a prediction of the question paper which is going to come, or sir, are you telling us what are the questions which will be there in the examination, some prediction? No, nothing of that sort. It's a disclaimer, guys. It's just that out of the 2 MTPs which have been released by the institute, when I went through them, I found some critical points which are to be remembered by each one of you during these last days of studies. So with that objective in mind, with sharing some hints, some clues with all of you, I am here with this particular small vlog. So yes, 2 MTPs have been released by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, MTP 1 and MTP 2. I'm going to discuss both of them one by one. No, I'm not going to discuss the solution of MTP in this particular video, because each and every question, be it theoretical or be it practical, has been covered in the video lectures, have been covered in the class. All the practical questions which have come in the MTP, all the theoretical portion which has come in the MTP, I've discussed it in great detail with all of you in the practical, in the video lectures or in the classes. So I'm not going to discuss solutions of these questions. And yes, the portion which has come in the MTP, it's absolutely there in the institute study mat as well, be it the practical aspect or the theoretical aspect. So the objective is not to discuss the answers to the MTPs. The objective is to discuss what are the critical elements which have come out from the MTP, and what are the things that we can do at this last point to add some 5 marks or 10 marks in our examination paper and get something more out of the examination. Just the last minute strategy. That's the objective of this particular video. So cost and management audit, paper number 19 of your syllabus, guys. Institute has released 2 MTPs. MTP number 1. Now the structure of both MTPs are absolutely the same. What is the structure? Question number 1 are the MCQs, 10 questions each of 2 marks. And I went through all of the MCQs, guys. Very simple MCQs from chapters like cost accounting standards, rules, then the theoretical aspects, theoretical chapters like management audit, internal controls, internal audit, etc. So very basic, very easy and very straightforward questions which have been asked in MCQs. So this, I think you should aim 20 out of 20 in question number 1 for sure. This is a cakewalk, okay? And yes, my suggestion, please start your paper with question number 1 itself. Some students choose to start from the last question to each his own, but my preference will be start from question number 1. That you'll be able to finish up quickly, so you'll have a lot of time left for the rest of the questions. So my advice to you, start with question number 1. Okay, 10 questions, 2 marks each, mixed lot from the entire syllabus, but straightforward. Okay, then question number 2 from basics of cost audit, 6 marks. Again guys, this particular chapter we undermine a lot. We do not study this chapter well, but in this particular MTP, need of cost audit was asked in the MTP. So the primary aspects of this particular chapter, like needs, objectives, other objectives, corporate objectives, all those aspects are to be done properly. Basics of cost audit, question number 2A, 6 marks. Okay, question number 2B. Now this is the dark horse. Okay, this is the dark horse, audit file and process of cost audit. Guys, a new chapter has been introduced last year in your syllabus by the name of audit documentation and audit process. Guys, this question is 10 marks question is from that particular chapter. Absolutely theoretical chapter. A very small chapter has been introduced last year itself, and now the importance of this chapter has arisen a little bit because MTP1 as well as MTP2 has got this particular chapter question, which clearly reflects that how important is this chapter. So audit documentation and process, this chapter, theoretical chapter, audit documentation and audit process, is really important. And if you ask me specifically to drill down on what aspect of this chapter is important, guys, audit process. There is a 6-step audit process which is given in this particular chapter. 6-step audit process which is given in this particular chapter. That particular aspect is really, really important according to me. So that's how this chapter gains importance now. Okay, last year it was introduced, but in the last attempts, not a lot of questions were asked. But MTP clearly has 10 marks question, MTP1 also has question, MTP2 also has question, so an important chapter. Then of course, the very obvious reconciliation statement between costing profit and financial profit. Guys, please do all the questions of your study mat or the book which I have provided to you, and it will be more than sufficient for attempting any question which comes in the examination, because beyond this level, nothing is going to come. So reconciliation statement is an important aspect again of your syllabus. Then audit strategy, again, a dark horse. Guys, there's a new chapter which has been introduced in your syllabus, which is first of all, it was audit documentation and audit process. Then next is cost audit program. Now guys, again, in MTP1 as well as MTP2, there is a small question of cost audit program which has been inserted in your MTPs. Now sir, cost audit program is a very, very huge chapter because it contains cost audit program of several aspects of balance sheet and P&L account. Guys, I'm not asking you to do all the aspects of balance sheet and profit and loss account equally well. I'm not asking you to do that. But at least you cover 4 important aspects of balance sheets, 4 important aspects of P&L account. What are the audit programs? What are the audit steps? And that's it. That's it. Sir, please name us what 4 aspects of balance sheet should we prioritize on. Guys, fixed assets, current assets including debtors, liabilities, share capital, and current liabilities, loans and advances. If you just cover these 4 aspects of balance sheet, then largely you've covered all of them. Of course, for reading purpose, you should read all, but special attention should be given to these 4. Then again, P&L account, income, very, very important. Okay. Then raw material expenses, employee expenses really important. Employee expense has come in MTP2 also, which I'll show to you in a short while. Then repair and maintenance expenses, then depreciation expenses. So broadly 4 aspects of P&L account, broadly 4 aspects of balance sheet. Guys, if some other aspect comes in the examination, then whatever is your knowledge with respect to these 4 aspects, you can use this knowledge to answer any other question which comes in the examination. Plus, from this particular chapter, which chapter? The new chapter which has been introduced, the second new chapter which has been, so 2 new chapters have been introduced: audit documentation, audit process, and cost audit program. So in cost audit program, there's another aspect which is important: preliminary documentation or preliminary information which is to be asked from the client while starting the cost audit. Now again, an important aspect of your syllabus, guys. You must do it, and please don't be scared. Please don't be scared, because it's really small. It's not lengthy at all, and if you read the steps twice or thrice, you'll easily be able to remember it. Okay, but please do it. I am very, very sure. I'm very, very sure. Out of these two new chapters, out of these two new theoretical chapters, which are the two new theoretical chapters? I'm reiterating: audit documentation process and cost audit program. Out of these two chapters, bare minimum 10 marks will be sitting in your examination for sure. My gut feeling. Okay, it's not that sir, have you got the copy of question paper? Please supply it to us. Please email the question paper to us. No, nothing of that sort. Okay, so but my gut feeling, out of these two chapters, bare minimum 10 marks question, 8 marks question will be sitting in your examination for sure. Important two new chapters which have been introduced in the last year itself in your syllabus. Okay, then again the regular stuff, guys. Cost accounting standard, of course, cost accounting standard 6. Then rules, value added statement, guys. More than capital employed, value added is important from a practical aspect of your rules chapter, rules 2014. Okay, but please remember that capital employed is to be done also, don't leave it. Okay, but in the MTP a question of value added was asked, and a straightforward question which we had done in our class itself. So 10 marks. Government expenditure audit, again guys, government expenditure audit, these are audit of service organizations. These are audit of service organizations which have been given. If you are referring to my book, it has been given in chapter 10, illustration number 6. Local bodies is also given over there. Government expenditure audit is also given over there. If you have overlooked, by any chance, if you have overlooked that particular illustration, I am referring to my book, chapter number 10, illustration number 6. If by any chance you have overlooked that particular question, please do it very, very sincerely and seriously, because it is going to be one of the most important topics of your examination. You cannot afford to miss it. And for the students who are not referring to my book, but they're referring to the study mat of the institute, guys, there's a separate chapter which is service organizations, audit of service organizations. Over there you will find these two topics which have been asked in the MTP. What are the steps of government expenditure audit and local bodies audit? And yes, apart from these two, there are other several aspects also to this particular service organizations, hospitals, hotels, etc., etc. Please read through all of them. What I've done in my book at least is I've summarized these into tables so that you can learn them easily. That's all. That's the differentiating factor which I have done. That's it. Otherwise, study mat also contains all these service organizations. Please do them properly, because one question frankly is expected out of this particular chapter. Then valuation of closing stock, a practical question on valuation of closing stock which I've done in my cost accounting standards. How to value closing stock. You've been given various expenses and you have to come to the valuation of closing stock. That is what is required to be done. Straightforward thing. Okay, audit of employee expenditure, and yes, this is what I was talking about, guys. Audit of employee expenditure, again the new chapter which has been introduced, the new chapter which is cost audit program. Cost audit program. In that particular chapter, how is employee expenditure audited practically? Okay, and guys, there's a specific reference to ghost employees in the MTP. Ghost employees, what do you mean by ghost employees? Employees are not there and still the business is claiming expenditure of the employees. So that is the aspect which has been covered in the MTP. Again, if you read through this particular chapter, cost audit program, and this aspect, that aspect gets covered over there as well. Ghost employees are employees which are not actually there in the organization, but the businessman is claiming expenditure of those employees. They're known as ghost employees, which has been covered. Okay, then calculation of abnormal cost. How is abnormal cost computed if there's a strike or there is some abnormal stoppage of work due to any reason? Abnormal cost comes up over there. I've covered in my cost accounting standard 1 practical questions, and yes, that question was asked. Again, I would consider it as a cost accounting standard question. Corporate development audit, again a theoretical question, and this has come from the 3 theoretical chapters. What are the 3 theoretical chapters? So as far as theoretical chapters are concerned, I will refer to 3 theoretical chapters which are the old theoretical chapters. I will refer to 2 new theoretical chapters which are the new theoretical chapters. Now what are the 3 theoretical chapters which I am referring to here also and going forward also? Number 1, basics of management audit. Number 2, management audit in different functions. Number 3, internal controls and internal audit. These are the 3 traditional, the 3 important, the 3 customary theoretical chapters which have been coming in the examination for bare minimum 20-25 marks. Bare minimum 20 to 25 marks. These 3 old theoretical chapters will come, and very, very small chapters again. So guys, 3 theoretical chapters old, 2 new theoretical chapters. What are the 2 new theoretical chapters? Number 1, audit process, audit documentation. Number 2, cost audit program. In together 5 theoretical chapters, and from these 5 theoretical chapters you can easily expect questions worth 30 marks, 35 marks. Yes. So this is the question from the old theoretical chapter, those 3 theoretical chapters. Corporate development audit. What do you mean by corporate development audit? 8 marks question. And guys, please, many students feel that, oh sir, we are going to write very brief answers. For a 8 marks question, we are just going to write 4 or 5 lines. Will that suffice? No, that will not suffice. 8 marks means you have to write appropriate. You have to write lengthy answer. This is a given fact. This is a requirement. Don't just write 4 bullets for a 8 marks question. No, you have to explain it properly. Don't just write bulleted points. And let me tell you a very easy way, sir. How much length should we give to a 8 marks question? Guys, just multiply 1.8 by 8. 1.8 multiply by 8. 8 marks multiply by 1.8 minutes per mark. It comes to 14 minutes. So for good 14 minutes, you have to write this answer. 14 minutes, you have to write this answer. Your watch will be in front of you. Just count the minutes, and for 14 minutes, you have to write the answer. So for a 8 marks question, you have to write non-stop for 14 minutes. That's the benchmark. Benchmarks is not that, sir, we fill 2 sheets, 3 sheets, 4 sheets. No, benchmark is not that. Because some students' handwriting is a little spread out. Some students write it concisely. So that is not the benchmark. Benchmark is for 14 minutes, you have to write the answer. And give details, give proper details, write full statements, don't write words, okay? Write full statements when you are giving answer to this particular aspect. Then question number 8. Question number 8 is a theoretical question, guys. You will be required to answer 4 parts. 4 parts will be required to be answered, and you will be given 5 or 6 choices. You will be required to answer 4 parts, okay? So each of the question, so question number 1 is mandatory question, okay? Out of 2 to 8, you have to answer. Out of 2 to 8, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of the 6 questions, you have to answer any 4 more questions. Any 4 more questions. In choice, you have to answer out of these 6 questions. The rest of the 6 questions, you have to write any 4 questions. So internal choice is there. So that is very, very important, and utilize that properly. Okay. Please remember that fundamental. What is the fundamental? Fundamental is, okay, you have to attempt 5 questions, guys, not 4. 5 questions you have to attempt. 16 marks each. 16 multiply by 5. 80 marks paper you have to attempt. So out of rest of the questions, you have to attempt 5 questions. You have to attempt 5 questions. So rest of the question is 7. So 5 out of 7 questions you have to attempt. Question number 1 is mandatory. 5 out of 7 you have to attempt in your examination. You have an internal choice of 2 questions. You can leave 2 questions. Okay, so that is how your MTP1 is structured. And yes, the summary which I would like to conclude on in MTP1 is, cost accounting standard has come up for 22 marks. Three theoretical chapters which are the old theoretical chapters. 3 theoretical chapters which are the old theoretical chapters, they have come up for 32 marks. Rules, reconciliation plus value added statement. Rules 2014 amended till 2019. That is the amendments which you have to cover. So rules have come up for 20 marks. Then cost audit documentation. This is the new chapter which has been inserted for 10 marks. So that is the the key areas where you need to focus on. These are the key areas which you need to focus on. And let me tell you, in cost accounting standards also, 1 to 10 cost accounting standards are the most important cost accounting standards. Most important cost accounting standards 1 to 10. Focus on them. Because last stages are there of the examination. Before the examination, you cannot afford to do everything, right? So do the most important stuff. Okay. Then some chapters which I have culled out apart from these chapters, some chapters which are very, very important. Ethics, professional ethics, please do that chapter. Despite of the fact that MTP doesn't contain any question from professional ethics, my sincere advice will be, please do that chapter. That chapter is important. Professional ethics. It's an easy one, and you can expect a question from this chapter. Audit documentation. In the chapter audit documentation, cost audit documentation, please do process very, very carefully. 6-step process of cost audit. 6-step process of cost audit. Please do that very, very meticulously. Management reporting in different functions. Of course, this is an important chapter. Management reporting in different functions. It has got certain miscellaneous practical examples, practical questions, which is very, very important from an exam perspective. Then last but not all the least, cost audit program, the newly inserted theoretical chapter. This will also hold relevance in your examination. Let me quickly move on to MTP number 2. Okay, the conclusion more or less will remain the same. Okay, MTP number 2, cost and management audit. Okay, so again, question number 1, MCQs. From rest 7 questions, you have to attempt any 5. You have to attempt any 5, 16 marks each. Okay, fraud reporting, again, rules. What are the requirements of cost audit? What are the obligations of cost auditor with respect to fraud? Okay, this question is covered in rules. Okay, audit process, again guys, again the new theoretical chapter which has been inserted, cost audit documentation and cost audit program, the 2 chapters, that this particular question is from that particular chapter. So cost audit program and cost audit documentation and cost audit process. Audit process is again asked. Again, 6-step audit process. 6-step audit process, very very important. Management reporting and different functions, a practical question from this particular chapter, which is expected. Theoretical question from CAS 12. Then management audit, the 3 theoretical chapters, the old 3 theoretical chapters, a theory question from management audit. Again, management reporting. CAS 8, practical question. Okay. Internal controls, again 3 theoretical chapters. CAS 4, practical question. Then this is very very important. Point to be noted, my lord. Point to be noted, my lord. Preliminary information for cost audit. Preliminary information for cost audit, which is required. Again, 2 new theoretical chapters. The second new theoretical chapter, which is cost audit program. And I am reiterating, guys, do not do all the cost audit programs which are given in that particular chapter. No need to do them. Just read them once and give special focus to any 4 balance sheet items, any 4 P&L items. That's it. You've played the trick. So cost audit program, preliminary information for cost audit, internal controls, internal audit, the 3 theoretical chapters, CAS 1 practical aspect, and then question number 8, the short notes which are required to be written. You have to write any 4 short notes. Each one will contain 4 marks each. Questions have come from 3 theoretical chapters and code of ethics, the professional ethics. The conclusion remains the same. 3 important chapters, cost accounting standards, rules, and 3 theoretical chapters. These are the 3 most important topics of your syllabus. Again, CAS 1 to 10 is really really important. Rest CAS you still can avoid to just brush it up quickly without giving much attention to each one of them. And of course the black horses, the dark horses, which I feel will become superstars in the coming attempt. Yes, they have been neglected, ignored in past, but in this attempt they're going to be the superstars. Ethics, audit documentation, especially process of audit, the 6-step process of audit, very very critical. Management reporting in different functions, and cost audit program, the preliminary information which is required in cost audit program for major 4 expenses, incomes and balance sheet items. That's it. So yes, the situation is so dynamic. I remember my video of 2 weeks back where I had given you a similar kind of analysis. But in that analysis, let me tell you what is the difference between this analysis and the analysis which was there 2 or 3 weeks back. The difference is the 2 theoretical chapters. Audit documentation, audit process and cost audit program. Chapter number 1, new theoretical chapter. Chapter number 2, new theoretical chapters. In my last strategy video, I did not emphasize on these 2 chapters much because in the earlier attempts or in the earlier MTPs, these chapters were not highlighted that much. But it's such a dynamic situation, guys. The things are changing so rapidly, so fastly, that we need to be up on our toes and we need to be really quick on changing our strategy and adopting to new things which are coming by in our MTPs. So yes, that's my analysis for cost and management audit paper number 19 for all of you. Some important aspects which I want to share with you. Yes, final days to go. Yes, these days are never going to come back. I wish these days don't come back in your life, and I wish that you get yourself the tag of CMA. That's it. And these days are never back in your life. You need not study cost audit for final examination CMA ever. Yes, you'll do other courses, but not CMA because you'll qualify CMA in this particular attempt. And yes, you're going to message me, sir, I have qualified CMA with 80 marks in cost and management audit. Trust me, getting 80 plus marks in cost and management audit and BVM SPM is not difficult at all. Not difficult at all. With this strategy in mind, with this last minute preparation and last minute focus on the special areas of our syllabus in mind, guys, you are definitely going to score well in cost audit. And trust me, even if you have not touched these chapters till now, do them now, because they won't take much of time. They won't take much of time, and they'll gonna be in your examination, and they're going to be definitely be there in your examination for sure. And yes, if they come in your examination, you can thank me later. But as of now, comment in the comment section below, did you like this particular video, and what else do you want me to discuss about, which aspect of the syllabus do you want me to discuss about? Drop a message in the comment box and I'll surely respond to you. And yes, do hit the like button and share this video with all your friends who are doing CMA and giving their attempt in the upcoming attempt. Alright, with that positive note, all the very best and happy studying!